Hello everyone and welcome back to Learn English with Podcasts. I'm Jack.
And I'm Emma. In today's episode, we're going to dive deep into one of the most essential aspects of English grammar, tenses. Understanding and using tenses correctly is crucial for effective communication in English.
That's right, Emma. We'll walk through each of the 12 tenses, explain how they work, and provide examples to help you grasp them more effectively. Let's get started. Emma, let's start with the present simple tense. When do we use this tense?
The present simple tense is used to describe habits, general truths, and routines. It's also used for scheduled events in the near future and in certain expressions like I promise or I apologize.
Can you give us an example?
Sure. Here are a few examples. Habits: I go to the gym every morning. General truth: the sun rises in the east. Scheduled event: the train leaves at 9 a.m. Expression: I promise to help you.
What about the present continuous tense, Emma? When do we use it?
The present continuous tense is used for actions happening right now, temporary actions, and future plans. It emphasizes that something is happening at this very moment or over a period of time around now.
Can you provide some examples?
Absolutely. Action happening now: I am reading a book. Temporary action: she is staying with her friend for a week. Future plans: we are meeting them for dinner tonight.
Moving on to the present perfect tense, when is this tense used, Emma?
The present perfect tense is used to talk about experiences, actions that started in the past and continue to the present, and recent actions that have relevance to the present moment.
Examples would be helpful here.
Of course. Experience: I have visited Paris 3 times. Action continuing to the present: they have lived here for 5 years. Recent action: she has just finished her homework.
And how does the present perfect continuous tense differ from the present perfect?
The present perfect continuous tense focuses on the duration of an activity that started in the past and is still continuing or has recently stopped. It's often used to emphasize the process or duration of an action.
Could you give us some examples?
Certainly. Action continuing: I have been learning English for 2 years. Recent action: he has been working out, so he's a bit tired now.
Let's switch gears to the past simple tense. When do we use this tense?
The past simple tense is used to describe completed actions or events that happened at a specific time in the past. It's the go-to tense for telling stories or recounting past experiences.
Can you provide examples?
Sure. Completed action: she visited her grandmother last weekend. Storytelling: I saw a great movie yesterday.
What about the past continuous tense? How does it function, Emma?
The past continuous tense is used for actions that were in progress at a specific time in the past. It often sets the scene in a story or describes what was happening when something else occurred.
Examples?
Here they are. Action in progress: I was reading a book when the phone rang. Setting the scene: they were walking in the park when it started to rain.
Emma, can you explain the past perfect tense and when we use it?
The past perfect tense is used to talk about an action that was completed before another action in the past. It's like looking back on an event that happened even before the past moment you're discussing.
Examples, please.
Of course. Earlier action: she had already left when I arrived. Another example: by the time we reached the theater, the movie had started.
How about the past perfect continuous tense? When is it used?
The past perfect continuous tense is used to emphasize the duration of an action that was happening before another past action. It often shows that something had been going on for some time before something else happened.
Could you give us some examples?
Certainly. Duration of action: they had been waiting for an hour before the bus finally arrived. Another example: I had been studying for 2 hours when my friend called.
Let's look ahead with the future simple tense. When do we use it, Emma?
The future simple tense is used to express actions that will happen in the future. It's also used for spontaneous decisions, promises, offers, and predictions.
Examples would be great.
Here are a few. Future action: I will travel to Japan next year. Spontaneous decision: I'll help you with that. Promise: I will call you later. Prediction: it will rain tomorrow.
What about the future continuous tense? How does it work?
The future continuous tense is used for actions that will be in progress at a specific time in the future. It's often used to talk about events that are expected to happen at a particular moment.
Can you give some examples?
Absolutely. Action in progress in the future this time tomorrow. I will be flying to New York. Expectation they will be waiting for us when we arrive.
Moving on to the future perfect tense. When is this tense used, Emma?
The future perfect tense is used to describe an action that will be completed before a specific time in the future. It's a way to talk about something that will have been done by a certain point.
Examples?
Sure. Completed action by a future time by next month. I will have finished this project. Another example, she will have graduated by the time you start college.
Finally, let's talk about the future perfect continuous tense. When do we use it?
The future perfect continuous tense is used to emphasize the duration of an action that will be happening up until a certain point in the future. It shows how long something will have been going on before a future moment.
Can you provide some examples?
Certainly. Duration of action by a future time by 2025. They will have been living here for 20 years. Another example, when you arrive, I will have been waiting for 2 hours.
Emma, how do we combine these tenses in everyday conversation?
Combining tenses is all about understanding the timeline of events. For example, you might use the present perfect to talk about something that started in the past and is still relevant, and then switch to the present continuous to describe what you are currently doing.
Could you give a conversation example that combines different tenses?
Certainly. Here's a dialogue.
Have you ever been to Italy?
Yes, I have. I visited Rome last summer.
What was it like?
It was amazing. I was walking around the Colosseum when I realized how much history there is.
I will definitely go there next year. By then I will have saved enough money for the trip. Emma, what are some common mistakes learners make with tenses and how can they avoid them?
A common mistake is mixing up the past simple and present perfect. Remember, past simple is for completed actions at a specific time, while present perfect is for actions with relevance to the present or unspecified time. Another mistake is confusing the future continuous with future simple. The key is to focus on whether the action will be in progress at a future time, future continuous, or a simple future action, future simple. To avoid these mistakes, practice by identifying the timeline of events and using the tense that matches it.
Do you have any tips for our listeners on mastering English tenses?
Absolutely. Here are some tips. Practice regularly. Use exercises and quizzes to reinforce your understanding of tenses. Listen and read. Pay attention to how tenses are used in conversations, books, and media. Speak and write. Practice using different tenses in your own speaking and writing. The more you use them, the more natural they will become. Learn the rules, but also learn exceptions. Understanding the general rules for tenses is important, but so is being aware of irregular verbs and exceptions. Get feedback if possible. Work with a teacher or language partner who can correct your mistakes and help you improve.
Emma, we've covered all 12 tenses and provided examples for each. What are your final thoughts on mastering English tenses?
Mastering English tenses is a key part of becoming fluent in the language. It may seem challenging at first, but with practice and patience, anyone can become proficient. Focus on the timeline of events and use the appropriate tense to communicate clearly and accurately.
I couldn't agree more, Emma. Understanding and using tenses correctly opens up a whole new level of communication.
Absolutely, Jack. We encourage all our listeners to practice these tenses regularly and incorporate them into their daily language use.
That concludes our extended episode on teaching tenses in English. We hope you found it educational and helpful in your journey to mastering English grammar.
Thank you for joining us on this detailed exploration of English tenses. We appreciate your support and encourage you to keep practicing and learning.
Don't forget to subscribe to our podcast and like this video. Your engagement helps us continue to bring you informative and valuable content.
Until next time, this is Emma.
And this is Jack. Goodbye. Bye.
Remember to leave a review and share this podcast with your friends. Together we can learn and make a difference.